We are what we consume. The food we eat fuels our body. The things that we watch, read, and listen to fuel our ideas, thoughts, and actions. If we only eat junk food, we feel sluggish and tired. Similarly, if we consistently fill our minds with garbage, we will feel bogged down and uninspired, maybe even anxious or depressed. Even what we're consuming is typically decided by the platform's algorithm rather than purposely seeking things out. It's more engaging to infinitely scroll funny, hateful, or addicting videos rather than focusing and learning about what we can do to improve. It's easier to escape in the short term and suffer in the long term than it is to suffer in the short term and find freedom in the long term. There's a direct correlation between what goes in and what comes out. When this balance is uneven, we lack the ability and desire to live an abundant life. Input equals output. Most people consume, but they do not create. They have the input, but no output. These things that they consume build over time, and rather than coming out as something good, such as art, videos, words, music, they result in complacency, anger, or division. But when you have good input and good output, you create flow. And with this flow, you have a feeling of purpose because the things that you're consuming can actually be applied to the things that you're creating. You have a reason to digest, think about, and practice the things that you're consuming. These things end up becoming fuel for what comes out of you in the form of art, words, video, service, and more. Most people default to being consumers rather than becoming creators. They use social media, TV, and the things surrounding them to intake what everyone else has to offer. They lack the action of offering their own experience, expertise, and perspective to the world. And someone is waiting to hear exactly what you have to offer. You are unique, and what you have to offer is unlike what anyone else can create or contribute to the world. Most people have this desire to make this change and add value to other people's lives, but they don't have the means to do it. This is where we can dive into it even further. For years, I was personally caught in this cycle of endlessly scrolling. I had big ideas for things that I wanted to create either through videos or through writing, but I just never seemed to find the time to do it. I felt like years were going by with nothing changing and none of my goals were being hit. I was feeling defeated. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know what I wanted my life to look like, and I didn't know what my next steps were. I couldn't find what excited me. I had lost my stoke for the things that I once loved, yet for some reason I had no idea why I felt this way. I just simply felt numb to my purpose, passion, and pursuits. The free time that I once used for creating new projects, meeting up with friends, or enjoying time outside was now being filled with what I like to call glorified digital distraction. I had even reached a point where I'd convinced myself that what I was consuming on social media was building me up rather than tearing me down. I had refined the people that I was following to only be following people that added value to my life rather than adding vanity to my life. But still, this led me to even more confusion. Each social media guru that I came upon claimed that they had the answer to the problem that I was feeling. Yet they each provided a different avenue and a different answer to getting there. I had no idea which one was right for me personally, and this just led to me feeling even more lost than before. The first step that anyone can take to start solving this problem is to start consuming consciously. You must take charge of what you allow into your mind. This includes what you watch, what you listen to, and what you read. The easiest and most actionable way that I've found to limit this consumption is to delete social media apps off of your phone. I did not need to delete them entirely. I did not delete my accounts. I just simply deleted the main apps off of my phone that I frequently and habitually tapped on whenever I had a void of free time. Everyone knows the feeling. You got a second while you're waiting in line for coffee? Might as well pull out my phone and swipe through my social media apps. Waiting for the stoplight to turn green? Might as well check my phone to see if anyone texted me. Even in the most absurd times, pulling out our phone to check it just comes so naturally as we continue to develop that action further and further. But once these apps were no longer present on my phone, it seemed so much less enticing to even use my phone at all. This now presents you with so much opportunity to notice the little things in life around you, either to engage in conversation with the people around you, or just to simply sit with your thoughts as you wait in line. Stare at your feet, stare at the ceiling, be bored for the first time in a long time. Our minds are not wired for constant distraction and pleasure. We must continually seek silence and solitude to regain our sanity. It's amazing how this simple action will change your life. And this is the start of a slow process of breaking the addiction to your phone. Checking and scrolling on our phones has just become so natural to us as people. We fill each void of free time with a quick check of an app or your messages or the weather, whatever it might be, so that you don't have to sit there looking awkward. But not anymore. Once you've mastered the step of breaking the chain between free time and your phone, you free yourself to consume in a much more conscious manner. You can now begin to fill this free time with what I like to call intentional input. The time that would have been spent mindlessly scrolling or watching TV can now be dedicated to learning a new skill or building a new project. You can focus this time on something that you're interested in or passionate about. Educate yourself, watch long-form videos, listen to a podcast, or take a course to learn a new skill. You can read books, spend time in prayer, spend time in thought, wrestle with ideas or beliefs, or you can build new projects or maintain existing ones. These things will now become the foundation of your newfound thoughts. This educational content, real-world experience, or purposeful time will shape your present and future life, instead of losing it to mindless scrolling, TV watching, and consuming things that you probably didn't care about anyway. You can redirect this time to learn, practice, and create. This is how you level up in life. This is how you become the main character of your story. Use the time that you've been given to create something that you're proud of. Use your experience and expertise to add value to other people's lives. Live your life abundantly. Recognize your time as a valuable resource that we cannot redeem. Why do we often spend our time more foolishly than our money? We need to budget our time as we budget our money. Plan out your days, plan out your week, plan out your life. And for all the Swifties out there, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Or wait. Yeah, that's right. We must stop living our lives under autopilot, under constant consumption of things that we don't care about, or that just make us more angry, divided, and disconnected with the people around us. Make the transition from consumer to creator and unlock the feeling of novelty that you've been missing from your life. Eventually, this leads in implementing these new ideas, skills, and thoughts into our lives as real-world projects. Real-world projects become creations. You begin bridging the gap from mindless consumer to intentional creator. You now have reason behind your pursuits because you have a reason to put what you learn into practice. Each thing that you learn becomes a building block and a testing field to put into your life project. You can then begin sharing this information with others, adding value to their lives while gaining a deeper understanding as you teach it. This can be done in the form of content, written words, audio, or video. You can do all of this while building a community and providing value to people who are desperately seeking it. This is a simple change that results in major change. This is exactly the process that I've taken to create the content that you're watching right now, and finally feeling clarity about how I can use my gifts to encourage and equip others. If you follow this process, your life is bound to look different in 6 to 12 months. It takes commitment, but it will provide you with purpose, passion, and pursuit in your daily living. This is something I feel very strongly about, and I truly think that if anyone takes the time to do this, their life will change. I've seen it in my own life, I've seen it in the lives of others, and this is how you build purpose in your life. So, what are the exact steps that you need to take to make this happen in your life? Number one is that you need to recognize how much time you spend unintentionally consuming things, whether that be on your phone, the TV, or elsewhere. Number two is that you need to purposefully remove these distractions from your life. You don't have to delete them entirely, you just need to remove them from your phone and easily accessible places. Number three, you need to use your newfound free time to consciously consume. This can also be called intentional input. Seek out long-form videos, podcasts, or courses to learn new skills or hobbies. Number four is that you need to learn, practice, and create. This kind of goes hand in hand with number three. The things that you learn, you need to write about them to better understand them and put them into a real-world project. You can journal to document your journey. Number five is to do this all consistently and watch how it impacts all the aspects of your life. Level up with each new skill and life category. And most importantly, regain control of your time and attention. That's it for today. You can sign up for my email newsletter called the Stoke Seminar. I send out an email every Saturday. I'll have a link to that down below. Thanks so much for watching. Hit subscribe to follow along. Hit like if you got value from this. My name is Eric. Peace.